Discipline your mind. The world will follow. There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a person stands at the crossroads of who they are and who they could become. No audience. No applause. No warning. Just a silent confrontation between comfort and growth. Most people walk away from that moment. They negotiate with it. They delay it. They drown it in distractions. But a rare few, they lean in. They listen. And in that moment, they make a decision that will ripple through every corner of their existence. They decide to discipline their mind. Because everything you see in the world, every empire, every breakthrough, every legacy, was first built in the unseen territory of thought. Before there was wealth, there was belief. Before there was action, there was intention. Before there was greatness, there was control over the chaos within. Your mind is not just a part of you. It is the command center, the architect, the gatekeeper of possibility. And if it is undisciplined, then no amount of opportunity, talent, or luck can save you. But if it is mastered, the world begins to rearrange itself in response. Look closely at history, not as a series of dates, but as a gallery of disciplined minds. The individuals who shaped civilizations were not simply gifted. They were focused, relentless, unyielding in their internal standards. They understood something most people ignore. The outer world is a reflection of the inner one. If your thoughts are scattered, your results will be scattered. If your beliefs are weak, your outcomes will collapse under pressure. If your attention is stolen by every distraction, your future will be built by someone else's design. Discipline is not punishment. It is alignment. It is the deliberate act of bringing your thoughts, emotions, and actions into harmony with a vision that demands more from you than your current self can comfortably give. And that is where most people falter. Because discipline asks you to become uncomfortable on purpose. It asks you to wake up before the world does, not just physically, but mentally. To confront your excuses before they turn into habits. To question the narratives you've inherited and rewrite them with intention. To sit in silence long enough to hear what your deeper self has been trying to tell you beneath the noise. There is a war happening every single day inside your mind. A battle between the voice that wants ease and the voice that demands growth. One whispers, later. The other commands, now. One seeks validation. The other seeks mastery. Whichever voice you feed becomes your future. Understand this clearly. The mind does not become disciplined by accident. It is trained, conditioned, forged through repetition and resistance. Just as a muscle grows under tension, your mental strength is developed through the consistent act of choosing what is right over what is easy. A mind without clarity is like a ship without a compass, drifting, reacting, vulnerable to every storm. But when you define exactly what you want, when your vision becomes precise, vivid, and emotionally charged, you give your mind a direction it can commit to. Clarity cuts through confusion. Clarity silences doubt. Clarity transforms effort into purpose. But clarity alone is not enough. Because the moment you decide what you want, the world will test how badly you want it. Obstacles will appear, not as barriers, but as invitations. Invitations to prove your commitment. Invitations to strengthen your resolve. Invitations to evolve into the person capable of holding what you seek. This is where belief becomes non-negotiable. Not surface-level optimism. Not blind hope. But a deep, unshakable conviction that what you are working toward is not only possible, it is inevitable if you refuse to quit. Belief is the fuel that keeps discipline alive when it always does. It is temporary, emotional, unreliable. Discipline, on the other hand, is stable. It is the system you fall back on when feelings are absent. You do not rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your discipline. So the question becomes, what are you training your mind to default to? Are you conditioning it to seek comfort, or to pursue growth? Are you teaching it to avoid pain, or to transform pain into progress? Are you allowing it to wander aimlessly, or directing it with intention? Every thought you entertain is a vote for the person you are becoming. And most people are casting votes without realizing it. They scroll instead of study. They complain instead of create. They hesitate instead of act. And over time, these small, seemingly insignificant choices compound into a life they never consciously chose. But you are not most people. You are here, listening to something deeper. Something calling you beyond average, beyond mediocrity, beyond the limits you once accepted as truth. And that calling requires discipline. It requires you to take ownership of your mind in a way that most never will. To become aware of your patterns, your triggers, your weaknesses, not to judge them, but to transform them. Because the moment you become aware, you gain power. Power to interrupt the cycle. Power to choose differently. Power to redirect your energy towards something greater. This is where vision begins to take form. Not a vague idea. Not a distant dream. But a living, breathing image of the life you are building. A vision so clear that it pulls you forward, even when the path is uncertain. Vision gives discipline meaning. Without it, discipline feels like restriction. With it, discipline becomes liberation. Because every time you say no to distraction, you are saying yes to your future. Every time you resist the easy path, you are reinforcing your identity. Every time you follow through on your word, you are building trust with yourself. And self-trust is everything. When you trust yourself, hesitation disappears. When you trust yourself, fear loses its grip. When you trust yourself, you move with certainty, even in the face of uncertainty. But trust is not given. It is earned. Through consistency. Through integrity. Through doing what you said you would do, long after the excitement has faded. This is the foundation of discipline. Not perfection, but persistence. Not intensity for a moment, but commitment over time. Because the truth is, the world does not respond to what you intend to do. It responds to what you consistently execute. And execution requires action. Relentless, focused, disciplined action. Not scattered effort. Not occasional bursts. But a steady, unwavering commitment to progress. Day after day, decision after decision. Action is where thought becomes reality. But not all action is equal. Busy work is not progress. Movement is not momentum. The disciplined mind learns to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. It prioritizes. It eliminates. It focuses. It understands that energy is finite, and where you invest it determines what you create. So you begin to guard your attention like it is your most valuable asset, because it is. You become selective with what you consume, who you listen to, where you spend your time. Not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. Because every input shapes your output. And if you are serious about mastering your mind, you must be intentional about what you allow into it. This is not isolation. It is elevation. It is the recognition that you cannot build a powerful life with a distracted mind. And as you begin to refine your focus, something remarkable happens. Your standards rise. What once felt acceptable no longer does. What once distracted you loses its appeal. What once intimidated you becomes a challenge you are ready to face. You begin to outgrow your old self. And that can feel uncomfortable. Because growth always requires letting go of habits, of environments, of identities that no longer align with who you are becoming. But this is the price of transformation. You cannot hold on to who you were and fully step into who you are meant to be. So you release. You evolve. You move forward, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. And in doing so, you begin to realize something profound. The world is not holding you back. Your undisciplined